folks, it's Adrian, CryptoBurb speaking. Welcome to today's Friday webinar. The title is pretty obvious, and I'm actually going to talk about what's pretty obvious in the title, right? I was at the Ape Fest. I got my laser eyes set up, made my face, better the skin. I'm recovering, wearing my UV blocking glasses, and still Bitcoin is enjoying its rally towards $40,000, right? So let's talk about this all for the next 30 minutes or so. If you're ready, well, let's get it going. You know, the funny thing is, I mean, now I'm kind of like, just anything that is left is basically just laughter itself, right? I can only laugh it off because the whole situation is so ridiculous. It's so unimaginable, so unbelievable, and so strange, and yet so fucking dangerous that at times you just kind of like react with laughter. It just makes you laugh, right? So I was at the Ape Fest. I'm a BIC holder, Board Ape Club holder. The Ape Fest was, as an event itself, it was fine, right? As an event itself, it was fine. The logistics were awesome. The friends. I travel a lot of conferences. Like today, actually, right now I'm in Dubai. Today I flew in from Istanbul, from Turkey, from awesome people of Turkey, by the way. Shout out to you guys, beautiful community from Binance Blockchain Week, right? I was there as speaker. We had some sort of like a paid collaboration with them, right, where they kind of like helped me out with the hotels, right, covered some sort of like some parts of the expenses. They were very nice, very helpful, and then proved excellent service for me as a speaker. So shout out to them as well, right? And what I want to say is that I traveled to a lot of those conferences, and Apefest was no different, right? Every time I go to a conference, I go to meet people, I go to shake some hands, I go to actually facilitate some partnerships as well, right? Because at the end of the day, I'm running several businesses. One of them, at the Burb Nest, is something that you guys known for a long time, and I'm honored to have been, for us, with the Burb Nest, with our excellent team for such a long time already with you. It's going to be soon a 6th anniversary, right? Time flies so fast. So at the end of the day, I travel to all those sorts of conferences to make sure that I reach out to a bigger amount of people, to a bigger group of people, incredible people, the ones who actually work to create something in the space, rather than trolling, rather than just sitting, laying back and doing nothing. It's also ways, I'm not neglecting that. I'm no one to judge, anybody's decisions, anybody's choices, right? I don't judge anybody, right? I'm probably the latest, the smallest of them all to ever judge anybody, which is why I ever stopped doing that. I just take the facts as they are, right? In those terms. So regardless of why other people travel to the conferences, I go to them because I can, because I want, because I have a purpose, and such was also the Ape Fest itself, right? And last year I bought the Board Ape Club in June, and it served me well, right? The 9020. Hold on, maybe it's gonna show off here, right? I still have it on my Apple Watch. No idea if it's gonna show up, right? Hold on. How can I show it? Am I screen sharing that? No, hold on, right? So this is my Bored Ape Club. I got it for like 95 Ethereum for in June 2022. I missed on the previous Ape Fest. I heard there was only good stories, and most of the time probably it's right. Most of the time it was correct. Still, I mean, like I said, it served me well in terms of the financial things. It kind of like is a little bit of a ticket, a little bit of a pass, to meet certain type of people. And some of them again are, they're pretty open-minded. Like NFT people are probably the most fun overall. When the bear market hits, right? Because everybody's chilled, everybody's kind of like welcome. So there's a very decent, strong community in there, and I've been part of this community for Bored Apes, for such a long time, and I met so many great friends. There's an excellent friend of mine. His name is Neff, right, also board Basie holder, excellent person. He's always super helpful. This community has tons of ridiculously helpful people and beautiful like-minded souls, that who really want to help, who really want to shift things for better, who build, who commit, who create, and who really actively participate in the community, which is awesome. All right. At the same time, again, I cannot ignore that there were the official statements where the Bored Ape owners, the Yugo Labs, right, eventually, or the Bored Apes themselves, kind of like released the statement that they mistakenly used the wrong sort of like light bulbs. All right. So if we're gonna go to Bored Apes, right, they released the statement, right, stating that on Sunday, November 5th, Yuga Labs began to receive reports, blah, blah, blah. You can read it, all of it. Long story short, in the investigation undertaken in collaboration with Chuck, has determined that UVA emitting light bulbs were installed in one of the corner of the event was likely the cause of the reported issues, right? So long story short, I was there, right? Posted several messages, and I was pressing, the people that I knew that had any sort of like slightest affiliation with the Bored Ape team to release some sort of like a statement, information purposes statement that would help people who suffered there, to get some sort of like seek medical help because that was needed. All right. So again, one of the exhibitions, one of the cool parts of that, and no one could really have expected it would act so badly eventually upon our health, was the bathroom wall, right? And there was a little bit of like an exhibition with just people coming in. It was like a must-see point, right, for everybody. And we went there. I met some people in there. Everybody was taking pictures. It was full fun time overall. Nobody kind of like felt okay, like we're being right now basically burned, or you're being just cooked, roasted like a duck, right? It was just a kind of like a natural discussion, because the whole theme of the whole Ape Fest, it was very neon kind of like vibe. It was very aggressive colors and so on. But you could never tell that it was something different, that there was something strange about this one, right? I mean, you often go to those places, let's say like some nightclubs, that you see a lot of those strange aggressive lights, and some of them happen to be yellow, red, green, blue lasers, all sort of like different colors. So it didn't feel anything unnatural, to say at least to me. However, after basically pretty much what it says, right? Uh, After several times, the whole event was like 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. Right, we went back to the hotel eventually around like 2:30 or something. Before I went to sleep, I took some time. There was like a half an hour shower or something. So eventually, I got to sleep around 3. I woke up around 4:30, and oh boy, this is gonna look drastic, right? Those were my eyes. This is gonna probably meme itself, right? This, like I say, in hindsight, I'm just kind of like laughing it off, right? I didn't want to show this picture too much, right? Because it's obviously disgusting itself. But I woke up at like 6. Sorry, I woke up around 4:30, 5 a.m. with my eyes burning, right? So what does that mean? If you ever got burned with your skin, if you ever got burned uh, with uh, with a flame, when you kind of like touch something very hot, as in you literally cook a soup or something and mistakenly just accidentally touch it with your hand, you get burned, right? You get blisters, you get like you will literally your skin is burned. And apparently the same feeling is what I had in my eyes, right? So though there was a waterfall of teardrops, right, that couldn't be stopped. The whole kind of like every teardrop felt like acid, right? What I'm showing again is I'm kind of like telling the story, explaining what that was, right? Again, it's just facts. I'm not doing anything, in terms of like praising or trying to blame anybody. Uh, that was That was a very painful experience because, like, you put a hand into fire and hold it in the flame for some time, right? Uh, it hurts. So it was literally like you poured your ice, poured the whole acid kind of like into your eyeballs, right? It hurt like motherfucker, basically. So we got together for a clinic. We got together for, I mean, we wanted to go for a clinic. We wanted to go for some hospital checks. My mother is a doctor. My sister is a doctor. They were kind of like luckily there to help me, right? Some of them on the spot, the others kind of like virtually on the like some conference call, let's say. So I was guided immediately what to do, which is probably why I still can see any shit. Right, I'm very thankful to them because they probably saved my life. Mm. And long story short, there was a very painful experience that I tried to wash it, wash it away, try to wash it off, in the shower. Now just laying down the shower, my lovely wife was helping me, kind of like putting the water, on my eyes, the boiled, cooled off water, clean water, just to get any slightest kind of like pouring effect, to just try to wash it physically, mechanically, and maybe chemically. At that time, we had no idea what that was. I just knew that immediately I woke up and my eyes were burning. Like, that was the strangest feeling that I ever had in my life, right? So that was not good. Something was off. There was like a lot of physical pain. I twisted, kind of like, just it was very, very tense and intense, and uh, and it wasn't good. Something was terribly off, and I didn't know what was happening. Right, there was a suspicion of conjunctivitis to an extent, right? Um, so eventually, kind of like, try to come to bed, go back to bed around like 6 a.m., 6:30, because I was physically tired as well. I slept like 2 hours or less, and just went to sleep. Hopefully, by the way, you can still hear it, right? Tell me, guys, if you can hear it. Tell me if you can see it. Oh, where's that gonna be? Hold on, just check. There you go. Right. Let me know if you can see it, if you can hear it. Um, seems everything is fine so far. So yeah, those eyes were troubled. Like a lot of acidic tears were kind of like flowing. You couldn't stop it. When you close your eyes, it hurt like motherfucker. When you open it, you couldn't hold it open because the tears were flowing. So it kind of like was literally, whichever way you picked, whichever way you decided to hold it, it was terrible feeling, right? It was really, really bad. And tried to sleep for about half an hour. Woke up. The pain would slightly, I don't want to say, just decrease. It was still there. However, I don't know, maybe it was a mix of me being extremely physically exhausted, right? So I just went on to kind of like nap for a little bit longer, and I ended up, sleeping basically for about, was it going to be 12 hours or 10, 12 hours, something like that. I woke up basically around like 5 p.m. And I went to the second day of the Ape Fest in my glasses to figure out like what happened, right? And I met, that was like the last 45 minutes of the follow-up event on the main stage. Close to the main stage, there were still some people, in the same place, and I met my friend, and you know, and I'm asking like, how's your night? And he says, bro, I spent my nights in a hospital. I went to an emergency. I called in an ambulance. My eyes were blazing, were burning, and I'm like, bro, you're literally telling my story. So I started digging on Twitter, and the things I read is anyone's eyes burning from last night. Woke up 3 a.m. the same time, right? Almost the same time. With extreme pain, ended up in the ER. Woke up at 4, couldn't see anymore, right? It was really so bad I had to go to the hospital, cleaned my eyes, gave me medicine, feeling better. 3 a.m. woke up, eyes burning, could barely open them, right? Me and Rack's eyes are burning so bad. Woke up, my eyes glued shut, right? Had the same. Even my good friend Evan was saying the same. right? So eventually I figured, like, what the hell? Like, I was not the only one. So it means there was something off. Like, everybody exactly the same feeling, exactly the same pattern, exactly the same, um, symptoms at exactly the same time, pretty much, which was super, super strange. It was super puzzled, like, what was going on. So now, by the recommendation of the doctors, of my sister and my mother, we went to the hospital for an emergency check, right? Spent there about like 5-6 hours maybe total. Got the emergency kind of like check. Told them about the potential UV light exposure. They commented that with a similar things, kind of like that you just get your eyes exhausted or something, like whatever it was. It was kind of like an emergency thing. It was in an eye clinic, right? So they got basically mm, some antibiotics, and they're prescribed like some eye drops, some painkillers, and so on. And on the following day, after this very night, I had a visit, an appointment in an eye clinic, right, to figure out that my cornea was not damaged, that there was no long-lasting damage, and so on. And I got to an eye clinic, and luckily again, because I started using those eye drops immediately, those eye lubricants, and so on. Um, I got diagnosed with the photokeratitis with over both eyes, and that it was accident related, very similar to basically what the Mount Everest climbers, you know, experienced back in the day when they didn't wear any UV protecting glasses, right? Because the sunlight just hitting the surface of the mountains, of the rocks covered with ice and snow, they would basically reflect and refract all of the light hitting, including the UV lights, right, from the sun. And they would just literally be blinded because it's like staring at the sun for hours with your eyes open. So you basically stop seeing. They went blind, right? And that's the story that happened to a couple of my friends as well, right? They literally went blind. They told me that they couldn't see anything for several hours. So they got those cases of actual snow blindness, which sucks, right? So eventually this sucks. I mean, this is real. This happened. This face, I'm not gonna forget it ever. It looks terrible. It's the first time I'm showing it, so it's scary. I'm kind of like keeping that as some sort of like a reminder to myself, maybe. Right now, I'm sitting in the UV blocking glasses, which I'm probably never gonna take off anymore. um, I'm using my eye drop, so I'm feeling better. Though some of the friends, are not feeling better at all. So, long story short, I'm improved. I've improved because I was lucky to have doctors around me to help me, all day long, basically, and I knew what to do. And I urged Yugo Labs and Board Ape to kind of like release some medical statements uh, immediately, or some sort of like an encouragement to let people know, because at that time, there was a lot of comments, a lot of reports from people stating exactly the same terrible symptoms, and it hurts like motherfucker. I promise. It was terrible pain. It was terrible pain. It was literally like throwing your eyes and eyeballs into a fire, and just taking them out of the fire, putting them back in the eyeball, in the eye place, eye holes, whatever. So not a good thing. Uh, so that was the investigation that again confirmed that they were the wrong sort of like light bulbs, UV lights that are used, the bulbs that are used to kill germs eventually, right? Not a good thing. So they roasted our eyes, and that's why we have the laser eyes, right? So again, just trying to laugh it off, although it wasn't anything good. And there are so many of those comments, right? So again, this is a little bit of a short answer to what really happened, right? Because so many friends, were really scared when they saw my tweets, right? I posted them several times. I'm gonna shut up right now about this, right? Although, I had to make this a little bit of a disclosure. That's the first webinar I'm doing since I got this one, right? So I think it was fair to address all the concerns that I got and all the good health wishes, which I truly thank you for, right? Because there were so many messages with showing support and showing love, and wishing speed recovery. So this is for you guys. Thank you so much. And now I'm also here to talk to you about the Bitcoin, right? So some time ago in October 17th at about $28,000, I basically opened another position, which I do. I got chopped like crazy here in the past several weeks before the recent position opened. That's the life of a trend follower. I get chopped most of the time. So I lose 70% of the time. However, I hunt for the big winners, and when the big win comes, right, this is what happens. It shots from 28K, it shoots basically towards 38K almost, right? So this is where we got it, right? This is where we got it 28,500 or so, and I'm rallying until now. So you get chopped a lot in sideways and chop, right? And this kind of like a rectangle, whatever whipsaws, a lot of traps, a lot of kind of like stop hunts and so on. And eventually it just rips. And then when it does so, this powerful breakout just continues and continues and continues and continues higher, so that one large trade, basically 28 to 38, over 425K position, basically covers for all those minor losses that were, just acquired along the way. And this is the beauty of trend following, because those trends, I'm not taking any profit. Like somebody of the followers, would ask me, what's my profit take points, right? Where I'm going to take profit. I'm not going to take profit until I get stopped, right? So that's the beauty of trend following, because like I said, eventually when there is this local tiny kind of like a chop, and you get chopped like crazy, which is what I do get often, when it finally catches on fire, when there's this confirmed powerful breakout, it continues and continues. And all that you do as a trend follower is that you raise your stop loss along with a specific technique. And here I'm using, an ATR-based trailer methodology. So I just use it along. It chases the trend, right? So I protect it from the beneath by securing the profit, so that an actual 130K profit is made in what's going to be about a month soon, right? Which is fine. So trend following works, right? On another note, we've got quite a cool news, right? Because BlackRock Bitcoin ETF approval should come by January, right? By the end of January. That's at least what the Fox News reports in terms of the growing confidence in the SEC approval for the Bitcoin ETF, iShares ETF, IBDC by January there, right? Following the Ethereum Trust registration in Delaware. So according to Fox Business Networks, BlackRock expects SEC approval by January 2024, which means that, it makes a lot of sense. So it would be a pretty nice way to close off the year, wouldn't it? Right? If that actually happens, because eventually BlackRock is the biggest player, right? It kind of like they're like Apple in terms of setting the trends, right? Or even Meta lately with the Ray-Ban glasses, with the cameras and so on. So there are trendsetters for the tech. There are trendsetters for lifestyle, for the daily wear and so on. And at the same time, you have the role models, the people to mimic, the people to chase, who are the trendsetters, and institutions such as BlackRock. So if BlackRock does it, and so many other institutions got approved earlier, right? Funnily enough, again, on September 26th, I released this Bitcoin Seasonality article with Jeffrey Hirsch. Big shout out to Jeff. About the remember to buy in September, right? Pattern that we figured out, that we discovered, quantified, along with the Bitcoin seasonal patterns, so that the best yearly day is actually in October 28th. And this line has been there since August, basically, or September, right? And it's still there. And it's actually, how cool is this? Along with all of the adoption that happened from the Bitcoin $2 parity, WikiLeaks accepting Bitcoin, foundation of the Bitcoin Foundation, the Bitcoin ETF file, from the Winklevoss, Ethereum Foundation. Lately at the Ape Fest, for instance, got to meet Tyler, excellent legend, who's basically the founder of Ethereum, one of the founders of Ethereum next to Vitalik Buterin. So I spoke with him. He's such a cool guy. So that's why we go to all those conferences, right? Microsoft accepting Bitcoin, BitLicense and GBTC debut, right? Steam accepting Bitcoin later in 2016. And eventually, again, in 2023, the institutions would hold about 8% of the Bitcoin supply, with MiCA regulations in Europe voted by the European Parliament, and Bitcoin ETF, the iShares IBTC ETF, applied and filed for to SEC by the BlackRock. Right, so there are a lot of institutional adoption points at the timeline, and eventually, what matters is again that those patterns, they do exist, they do matter, they matter, okay, and they check out, they actually work. Those patterns, they do really work. I'm gonna post a tweet about that later. I'm just gonna put the chart in here, not to forget about it. Right, so you get to observe, and again, the worst week that happened, right? It was in the 33rd week. It was in August, and boom, big drop, right? You see this big drop. It was $30,000 all the way down to 25, right? Decent drop. Then the best day, October 26th, right? Sorry, October 28th, the best day. Boom, rips higher, right? The best week is the one towards the end of the year, in a way, right? So there's a lot of good, promising things, because eventually the Bitcoin continues to move higher off the 15,500 lows last year, exactly like almost last year ago, a little bit longer, 2 days or so. It continues to move higher, right? Making higher highs, higher lows. It kind of like, shot the first wave above the $20,000, like right here, which you guys knew about. I was very vocal about that in January. If you don't believe, I'm actually going to show it to all the naysayers. Why not? There are a lot of signals, right? I post all the signals all year. So it's going to be, hold on, let me find it quickly. Right? Where is that going to be? Quietly going for 40K. There you go. Right? January 14. So if we take this tweet, we're going to post it, let's say here. Where is it going to land? Is it going to land anywhere? Here. Right? So here is exactly where I posted about Bitcoin breaking the bear market signal, right? That the bear market trend was broken, that it triggered the signal for the new bull market. And ever since, Bitcoin rallied from $20,000 approximately, it was actually 18, 19, all the way to $37,000, $38,000. This is pretty powerful, right? Because in the end of the day, on the year-to-date basis, since the year started from around 16,500s, we basically rallied at about 130%. And Bitcoin doesn't move in bear markets 130%. A $700 billion asset doesn't move by accident by 130% for 11 months straight or 10 months straight. It is impossible for big players to not notice that they invested hundreds of billions of dollars of their portfolio into Bitcoin without realizing that. Right? It's impossible. It's not coincidental. So it was real, and it works. Technical analysis works if you can use it properly. The seasonal studies work if you can use them properly, right? Even though you don't know the future, just like you don't know the future of the temperatures, right? You still check the last temperatures, the past temperatures, the average temperature, the yesterday's temperature, and make decision what you're gonna wear today on the next day, right? So exactly the same way, like you check your phone, check your iPhone for the temperatures. You literally check the prices, right? So we've got this news. Like I said, we've got this news. We've got the $130,000 profit and a position, which is pretty cool. $28,000 was the actual, again, signal for the latest one. 500 was the entry about that, right? Ever since it's a 30% growth, if I'm not mistaken. The Bitcoin ETF approval expected by January, right? By the Fox news reporters. It's pretty cool. So the whole like I said, the whole tweet. Let's bring in the whole tweet again, right? The whole tweet was about here, right? The Bitcoin is breaking the 200-day bear market trend, and it actually broke it, right? and it's actually broke it. And ever since, the bull market exists. The bull market is on since January, and yet some people would reject it for 10 months straight. And what Bitcoin does, it just continues to move higher, and it goes higher, higher, and again, upwards and onwards, step by step, and it does so in a very powerful, consistent manner. And it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning, right? Some people are still believing it's a bear market. They haven't shaken it off yet. They haven't woken up just yet, right? So it is going to be a painful lesson for a lot of people who hold on to their previous views, who suffer from the cognitive dissonance, who deny the reality that they screwed up. Hey, listen, I'm wrong too often to even realize that I'm right at times. I lose 70% of the time, right? It's admitting your own faults and mistakes. Like I probably a second ago I wasn't sharing my screen while talking about it, which was a mistake, which I apologize for. Right? Apologizing, admitting the mistakes, admitting the wrongs, the wrongdoings, the losses is a good thing. It helps you persist better. It helps you become a better trader because you accept the reality. So until you start accepting the reality, nothing's going to change, and you're only going to soak in with bigger losses in your ego, with bigger, more ego defensive mechanisms happening, kind of like denying the reality, denying everything that happens just for the sake of maintaining your own ego, which is going to harm and hurt anyway, right? Because it's just a matter of time that you realize that you could have bought Bitcoin around $20,000 in January when it triggered the Bitcoin signal. Instead of arguing with the market, instead of arguing and searching for the points with the confirmation bias, confirmatory bias, conservatism bias, representativeness bias, hindsight bias, right? All those kind of like strange feelings that make you feel that I'm not wrong. The whole world is wrong. I'm not wrong, right? They are wrong. So it's not me who is wrong. It's Bitcoin that is wrong, right? And as a matter of fact, it does not matter at all, right? Because it's just our empty statement. What Bitcoin does, it just moves higher and higher and higher. The best day, October 28th. The worst week, August 30th. There was the mid-August, right? Big red week. The best day and the best week towards the end of the year. So we are heading with a lot of anticipation towards the halving, right? And halving historically would always rally hard. The post-halving prices would always rally hard, and they will never come back to the prices from previous halvings. So every trader who ever bought halving prices spotted a profitable pattern because Bitcoin never came back. Everybody who bought halving, they are in profit. It is a profitable strategy so far, right? Even though we cannot know the future. Just like we make a decision about wearing a jacket based on checking the past temperature, we decide to put on the bull jacket, the bull market jacket, by observing the past prices this time, right? So yeah, there's a lot of good things. There's a lot of positive optimism to it, right? Again, just deeper technicals. If we are to hit the deeper technicals, the seasonality is pretty awesome because you've got October that gave you, instead of average 15-20%, it gave you 27%. It was actually a lot better and outperformed the overall market anticipation. Then November is the best performing is the best performing month for Bitcoin, for this digital asset that Bitcoin is, because the November actually is the strongest month. It gives you over 40% average gain, which means that if you buy on November 1st and sell on November 30th or sell on December 1st, every year for the past 13 years, on average, you're going to gain 40% every year, right? This is pretty powerful. It's actually also 2 or 3 times as strong as October. So taking even the average, and the average is good because at times you got stronger rallies, at times you got weaker rallies, but the average itself, helps you set the expectations. So you can set the expectations that by observing the opening price from November, right, which is going to be exactly this, right, around again 34 $34,000, right? 34,500. If you take 34,500 and actually add 40% gain to it, 34,500, and add a 40, let's say 40% gain, where's it going to place you? It's going to place you towards the $50,000, right? The actual gain up here is close to 45%. If you take it towards 45%, it literally lands at $50,000, which is a beautiful round number. And we love those round magical numbers, right? There's a lot of round numbers magic, basically. So we tend to love those and anchor at those round numbers because they are easy to remember. They're easy to be memorized, right? So I'm not going to remember like 49,967.3725. I don't even remember what I just said, right? I'm going to remember $50,000. I'm not going to remember 99,999.37, right? I'm going to stick with 100,000. So we make decisions based on rounded estimations, based on rounded numbers, the round numbers, right? There's round number magic. And there's some magical thinking. We think that there are like some special, that there's something special about 100, about 10, about 50, about 25. In practice, it's not special at all. It's nowhere near different than the one digit before, right? It's exactly the same number anyway, right? Weight-wise, it has the same weight. It's not that Bitcoin celebrates every 50K or every 10K. It's just what we as traders try to anticipate and put and all our emotions and fears and hopes into the chart that makes it all work. Self-fulfilling prophecy or not, it doesn't matter because it works, right? So yeah, the breakout target, again, rising trend, 200-day moving average rises, which is a definition of the bull market ever since it started rising in a way. So even the most aggressive bears kind of like could have got the actual final signal that the average, that that it continued to decline for the whole of the bear market, that it stopped declining basically in 2023 and it started rising, which means that a major dominant trend, the actual dominant tendency, the overall trajectory of the market has shifted to the upside, and it continues to move to the upside since then. So there is not a slightest piece of doubt. I didn't have any slightest piece of doubt basically in here. Like February, there was a thread. I also posted a thread, by the way, about that, right? Posted this thread. What was it called? Let me just find it. Oh, there we go, right? It is a thread that I said, a trend and not a correction. It's February 21st, right? 21st of February. A trend and not a correction. From a technical standpoint, the bear market is over. Bitcoin sees a persistent trend shift confirmed by price percentage, traveled, volume spikes, above the average volatility, time above the 200-day trend, and improved breadth. In 2023, look up. Bitcoin was then at about $25,000. Okay. And what matters is that the bear market was over already in February, right? The bear market was over already in January as well. So even the most aggressive bears, the most conservative bears, have got so many chances to convert, right? And what happens is when you fear that your ego is going to suffer, you deny the reality because that's the coping mechanism, right? So you choose to ignore everything, all the facts, all the numbers, all the data, right? All the charts, all the signals, such as the one that we just broke. So many bears were saying, hey, listen, this was not a bull market because Bitcoin wasn't moving higher. It was like 25K, 32K was ranging for 5 months, and it broke higher. It broke above 32. It broke to 38 in a short period of time, basically, right? So it pumped 22% higher. A $700 billion asset pumped 20% in several days. And bears say, it's a bear market. So what Bitcoin does, it just moves higher, higher highs, higher lows. And those who are calling it a bear market still are those who missed out, are those who transpire their own hopes and fears into the chart, and those are the reasons why technical analysis wouldn't work for them, right? Because they are not using this correctly. They're trying to fit their bias, right? And comment on whatever oversold or overbought conditions that make sense in the range trading situation are with the trend. Because if there is a trend, the RSI stays oversold or overbought for months. The above is RSI. The trend lines are broken, right? The momentum RSI trend is rising. The 50-day momentum is rising for the first time in a long time, right? For the first time actually since it was June. So it keeps on moving higher highs and higher lows as well, right? Higher highs, higher lows. There's an inclining tendency on the momentum. The momentum is getting stronger. The trend is getting stronger. The velocity of trend is getting stronger or bigger. The trend accelerates. The bulls are getting more and more aggressive. It is confirmed. I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm talking about something that had already happened. Anything that's on the right-hand side, this is yet to be written. Anything that's happened, that happens in the chart, anything that you can see in the chart, it had already happened. This is true. Things and facts that happen have 100% likelihood and certainty. They are irrefutable. It is irrefutable that Bitcoin is in the bull market. It was irrefutable that Bitcoin was in a bull market in February, in March. It was irrefutable and undeniable that Bitcoin broke above $32,000 and that's now trading close to 37 or higher. It is irrefutable that the 50-day volatility trend again is rising. After a long time, the last time it was rising, it was basically, go back in time, the last part of rising volatility, which sustains the trend, the direction, was in April. So those are facts, those are numbers, those are events that happened. Drawing conclusions based on past, the averages, helps you set the right expectations. And this is exactly what helps you make a lot of money, right? This is what helps you make, money trading at all, right? This is exactly what helps you make money trading at all. So yeah, it's good to be bull in 2023. The expectations are checking out. The trend is getting stronger. The bulls are getting more and more aggressive. The anticipation is real. Halving is happening. Halving never lost money to those who bought at the halving, and it never came back to the same prices. The averages are moving up. All the averages are moving higher. The range was broken. The volatility is rising. The confirmation is from every single angle in technical analysis, because technical analysis confirms the facts. It talks about the facts, not about the hopes and fears, right? So when you focus on the facts, then you actually discover that Bitcoin has been a bull since January this year. So it's good to still wake up. For those who haven't still woken up, you still have time, right? You still have some time. However, probably it's just a little bit better and cheaper to buy Bitcoin at 37,000 than to buy it at 70,000 or 65,000, right? Because historically, it always rallied hard after the halving, and it always rallied hard towards the new highs. The all-time highs would always come after the halving. So if it checks out all the time, if you know that every single time during a winter in your country you have to take a jacket, otherwise you're going to get cold, then how on earth would this pattern disappear? Why would you stop taking the jacket into the middle of a winter in your country when you live in, I don't know, Siberia or Antarctica or wherever, right? So the patterns that sustain are good for setting the expectations and are good to have the benchmark. And this is the benchmark. 2023 is a pre-election year. At 84 years, only one loser. Shout out to Jeff Hirsch again. Again, I may be wrong about that. Take it with a grain of salt, just showing you a little bit, just scribbles. Who knows what's going to happen, right? But if I were to roll a dice and just throw a guess, I think it's literally it's literally going to build along with the anticipation and the Bitcoin ETF adoption for BlackRock and so many other ETFs coming after that as the trend-setting role of the BlackRock, into anticipation of the halving, which dabbles, well, not so much dabbles, but every 210,000 blocks, it reduces the mining rewards by half. That's why it's called halving. It's getting more and more expensive and difficult to mine Bitcoin, right? So this digital scarcity also is a decent boost to an actual utility to the prices. When there's less of it, you want it more. And there's only one Bitcoin in the world, everybody would want that because there is only one. If there's only one Rolls Royce, if there's one Rolex, if there is one whatever, thing, you want it more because there are thousands of people who really want the same thing at times. There are 8 billion people. The chances that you're the only one wanting the same thing is 1 to 8 billion. Those are no good odds. Right? So again, long story short, I think we're good. I may be wrong about my opinions. I have no idea what's going to happen, so take it with a grain of salt. What I do is I trade. And when I trade, I do it by using my trading techniques. The technical analysis in a quantitative manner, right, is what helps you make money in this industry. So I'm using 12 hours again, that very good approach, trend following system, based on the ATR, based on the adaptive volatility that basically helps me trade the stop, right? So at every single breakout, I traded the stop higher, right? And that's how I got the stop from here eventually to around here. And this secures about 30% profit on a $425,000 position. So it's a good profit, 130K. Let's see where it goes. Perhaps it goes higher, perhaps it nukes me out and I secure the profit. Whichever happens, I have no idea, and I'll just follow it because I know that with reliable, good, profitable trading strategy, I'm going to make it anyway. So that's pretty much the story, right? That's, I think, the story. And by the way, before I go, ladies and gentlemen, in 5 days, this is an old tweet from 2 days ago, which is a giveaway, right? You can win $700. 7 winners are going to win $100 each. 7 lucky followers who like and retweet, who join the free Trading Congress list for free and comment 7, they're going to get basically a chance to win $700. So far, there's a pretty good chance that out of 2.5, almost 3,000 people that liked it, maybe you're going to be the one who wins it. And eventually, if you join the list, you can join it from here or even from my bio. We're going to host in 5 days from now, November 15th through 21, we're going to host the Free Trading Congress. It's a free virtual trade camp. If you want to learn better trading, stop getting wrecked. Finally, stop getting wrecked. Stop missing out all the boats. Stop missing all the trains, right? If you ignore the reality for the past 10 months, we're living under the rock and didn't see the Bitcoin pumped 130%, and you still want to make it, there's hope for you, and you can do it by getting engaged, right? So if you want to get engaged and learn how to stop getting wrecked, get some confidence, get back on your feet, recover all those losses, recover all those lost opportunities with accredited guidance from me as a charter market technician, then in 5 days, November 15th through 21, we're going to open up the trade group that we have at the Bear since 2017, the reliable trading community that's been with you for years consistently, breaking the bulls and bears, sideways, COVIDs, wars, everything. Free for everybody who subscribes. All the Congress attendees, the Free Trading Congress, that's what it's called, right? The Free Trading Congress. Last year, it bottomed out the market. We nailed it last year and held the Congress, a literal bottom of the market, literal market bottom of 2022. That was the time where last year, because we hosted every year in November, mid-November, was exactly this. The mid-November was November 9th, 10th, and so on. This is where we hosted our Congress. And now we're doing it again with this difference that is 130% higher, right? So if you attended the past Congress, you got the signals. If you're going to attend this one, you're likely going to get signals, right? So just maybe, if you want to stop missing out again, if you want to get yourself a chance to actually make it, you can do it, and you can win cash with it. $700. Again, 7 lucky winners, 7 lucky followers like, retweet, join the list, right? Join the list. You need to register your name if you want to take part in the giveaway and you want to take part in receiving this free access to the trade group. No fees, no charges, no anything. All you need to do is just like and retweet this tweet. You can join the list anyway. If you don't want to win money, that's fine. You can join the list anyway just for the free trade group access and the virtual community, virtual trade group experience. And all you do is basically join the waitlist, right? You join the waitlist and you're in the waitlist. And when you're in the waitlist, we need to do it fairly, and everybody there are going to be able to get the free trading congress participation experience, the ticket to free virtual conference that we have, and the free trade group access, right? That's been there reliably, profitably, transparently with you. If you want to stop getting wrecked, stop missing the boat all the time, then this might be the game-changing opportunity for you. Go for it. It's going to be pinned under my tweet. 5 days until now. Until then, from now, go for it. It may be a game changer. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to close the stream. I do appreciate your coming in. We're going to talk about the Bored Apes. We're going to talk about altcoins. We're going to talk about the indices. We're going to talk about halving and so on. In the Congress in 5 days before the next streams. Go for it. Link is in my bio. Take part in the giveaway. $700 is waiting. God bless you all. See you around. Thanks for bearing with me, and bye-bye.